guys, Renata Sander here from MeetAdvisors.com, and I'm joined with Josh Inglis, founder of Propllr. How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming into our office.
It's my pleasure.
So I wanted to start off this video segment asking you, who are you and what is Propllr?
Propllr is a public relations and content marketing firm that works with startups.
Okay.
The work that we do is all about building credibility and awareness for our clients. As a newer company, often doing something new and different, credibility is incredibly important, even more so I would say than awareness. So the work that we do for our clients is we're trying to get, most of the work that we do is we're trying to get our clients' attention outside of their own world. So have publications, whether it's an Inc. or a New York Times or a trade publication or a leading blog or website, have those outlets bring our client in some way. It may be a profile of their business or their product. It may be a feature where they're positioned as a leader in a trend. Could be a contributed article, or they could just be quoted on something important to their audiences. So we try to get them those opportunities in as many different places as possible, and hopefully in a way that's in keeping with the what's most important to them and their market. So communicating important messages, not just getting them out there and adding noise, but rather having them associated with things that are really important to who they're trying to sell to.
So you focus specifically on public relations.
That's the biggest part of what we do. An increasing part, though, is content marketing. We've always done a lot of content through contributed articles, but that still falls kind of as a public relations tactic.
Right.
But now we're having increasing numbers of clients where we are creating content for their blogs. And in fact, we have one client now where that's really all we're doing, not doing any public relations for them at all at this point. So it's really, it's an exciting place to be. And another reason we're doing a lot more content is there's been an explosion in websites that take content, but there's not an explosion in editorial staff. So a lot of them, there are a lot more opportunities to place stuff, which is great for our clients. But many of those opportunities require writing and writing the piece, and that takes a lot of time, much more time than a 30-minute interview does.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of what we're doing with our clients as well, is doing those contributed pieces. We write a lot.
So kind of focusing more on you, what drove you to become an entrepreneur?
It's a good question. I had a client that actually told me to finally do it. I'm kind of a risk-averse person. I'm not the stereotype. And there were opportunities throughout my career where I could have gone off on my own. Starting a PR firm does not cost anything. All you need is a laptop. I mean, there's certain things also like databases or whatever that are important to have, but it's a very low-cost business to launch. But I didn't do it. There was always something that felt a little more comfortable. And then about 3.5 years ago, just before I started Propllr, I was in between things, and I met with one of my former clients. He had been the founder and CEO of a very successful Chicago company. Ran their public relations for 7.5 years. They went public during that time. They would eventually sell for $1 billion.
Wow.
It was just an amazing run. And I sat down with him and I was explaining my future, like I could take these two paths.
Yeah.
And I said, one, I could do another, I had just come off an internal marketing and PR job. I said, well, I could look for something else like that, and he basically cut me off. And he said, well, you just finally do your own firm. I've been telling you to do this for a long time. He became one of my first clients. The head of marketing from that startup at another company became one of my first clients. And very quickly, I was covering my bills, which is what every entrepreneur wants to do, like as quickly as possible. And so again, like, it wasn't a stereotype where I was giving up money or giving up salary or giving up income or using credit cards for months and months to get it going. I was able to be, because of the trust of this former client, I was able to come at this with some success, like right out of the gate. So it's the problem with, I read this yesterday, the problem with successes is that they all seem easy. And it seemed really easy, so I don't consider I am an entrepreneur. I've hired people, we're growing very quickly, but I've never felt like an entrepreneur in the way of like taking risks and like really betting it all and putting it all on the line, because it's felt like it's come rather easy. I'm really fortunate.
So where did the name come from?
In PR, the tradition is, in advertising, the tradition is for most agencies to name it after the founder. But PR should be about the client, not the PR firm, and so I've never understood that. I've never understood why you name the firm after Fleischman or Edelman or Hill and Knowlton or Ogilvy. Like, why are you naming the firm that's supposed to be doing work for your clients after yourself? So I wanted, and that's like the big picture reason. The other reason is my name is not, if I did my name, I'd always be explaining it. Because it's spelled Inglis, it's pronounced Ingles, and every day it would be, and just the URL, like how do I find your website, how do I do the email address? So there would have been a logistical problem. So that's why I did not do Ingles. The reason I did Propllr was I wanted something metaphorical, something that someone could look at and say, oh, hey, I get like there's a feel with this, or there's a meaning behind it. And so Propllr, our tagline is onward and upward. So we want to be the firm that can help companies move forward, to move up, and to really succeed. The misspelling was kind of another logistical thing. You can't buy any URL you want. This one was actually available, and I think by misspelling it as Propllr, Propllr, I think it helps us communicate a bit, or connect rather, with the startups that we work with, because it is such a common thing.
Right. Nice. I like that.
Yeah, thanks.
And so for Propllr, who's your ideal client? So what kind of markets do you, if you do, focus on, or industries, I should say?
When I started the company, I'd wanted, like I mentioned, that client that we'd worked with for 7.5 years. It was Options Express, one of Chicago's real success stories the last 15 years. When I worked with them, I loved them not because they were in financial markets, even though I'd been in that industry for a long time. I loved them because they were very innovative, very fast growing, a real business, and the CEO understood the value that we were delivering. It wasn't just something marketing told him he was supposed to hire. He saw the value in PR. We were there in the pre-IPO roadshow. PR was on one of the slides about why they were so successful. So I decided I just want to work for companies like that. It's not that they were financial, it's that they had all those other characteristics. And 3.5 years ago, the startup world in Chicago had started percolating a little bit, so it was really a perfect time. Another thing, I just sort of feel lucky, right? It was just a little bit easier because there was so much of this activity going on. But our clients aren't only in Chicago. We've had them as far afield as Stockholm, Sweden.
Wow.
But New York, Boston, San Francisco, LA, talking to one in Phoenix right now. So our clients have been very national or even international. We're talking to one that's in Amsterdam.
Wow.
But really the focus is not on any one industry, it's not on any one geography. It's on just the type of company, the vibe of the company. Are they innovative? Are they focused on growth? Are they trying to really build a business? Does the CEO have buy-in on it? We often report to the CEO and work most closely, but we don't have to. I just want the CEO to see what we do as a valuable part of the team versus a cost that they have to sign a check for once a month.
That's definitely very important.
Yeah.
And so what have been some of the challenges you've seen growing your business?
Yeah. There are a couple. One is quite often from the nature of our clients, we may be the first outside vendor. I like to use the word partner, but at the beginning, I mean, I get where we are an outside firm. We might be the first outside firm they've ever hired for anything, other than maybe a little bit of law here or an accounting here. And so, because of that, I think it's largely a good thing, but it is an expense they're not used to. And so there is a trust that has to be built very quickly. We've been very successful doing that, but it is a challenge. It's not like a lot of the groups we work with don't go into the year saying, hey, we have a $5,000 or $10,000 a month PR budget. It might be June or July, and they're like, you know what, I think we need PR. Let's talk to some PR firms and see what it could be and how much that would cost. So it's something new, and so sometimes that sales cycle can be difficult. Sometimes establishing that trust becomes more important. And then the other challenge can be that startups have to move on a dime. There might be a VC that comes in and they have a PR firm they prefer their portfolio companies to work with. They might be doing a funding round and they need to sort of clean up their balance sheet a little bit, so they pull back on some fees on outside firms that they work with. They could fail. I mean, hopefully not, but these are all things that can happen.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, we need to be able to move on a dime also. So we actually have a contract Our standard contract for most of our clients is it's just a rolling 30-day contract. It auto-renews every day. So there's no 1-year contract, there's no 6-month out, 3-month out. It's just, you know what, if this isn't working or there's a change or something happens, you're never more than 30 days away from us being able to wrap it up. And we think that addresses a lot of the issues.
Yeah, especially with what startups are having, definitely.
Yeah.
And I know you're pretty involved in the startup community in general in Chicago, so can you tell our audience a little bit more about what else do you do? Because I know you're a busy man.
Yeah. So I do try to get involved, and a lot of it's informal. I don't want to, but we're doing more and more. Like today, I know Avi is one of the meat advisors, and I'm moderating a panel that he and his team have put together on brand awareness and engagement. I've done office hours with various venture capital firms here and their portfolio companies. We're a partner at Catapult, the co-working space / accelerator for startups. We help out those companies sometimes with opportunities. Excuse me. And then we just have lots and lots of 1871 mentor. I mean, you can't really be in the business without doing that. It's like a checkbox. And but these are all really rewarding things. And then we just talk to tons of startups of all stages and sharing ideas and opportunities with them. When we look at it, obviously our clients come first, but we're constantly getting opportunities and learning of stuff and coming across things. So we go to our clients first, but after that, if our client's not a fit, maybe that client was just in that publication, or the reporter just interviewed that client, or for whatever reason our clients just don't fit that opportunity, then we'll look to our friends. Like, who do we know? Who have we met that could be a fit for this? When we're successful, it's by being a resource for reporters, even more so than being a resource for our clients. If reporters come to us and they know that they can get something good from one phone call to us, we're in a better position. So we just talk to lots of people, and hopefully we can bring opportunities to everyone, regardless of if they're a client or not.
Great. And so kind of wrapping up this segment, what is one piece of advice that you would give to our community of entrepreneurs on Meet Advisors?
Well, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs here I sort of feel like this is something I'm not supposed to say as a PR person, but PR is such an important thing to do, and I think a lot of people have the belief that, yeah, PR is important, I can't afford it yet, I can't hire an agency yet. One of the things that companies can do, though, is there is a lot they can do on their own. And I know I probably shouldn't say that, but there really is, and I'm happy to talk to anyone about that. What I find, though, is like when you look at public relations, if you look at it as a pie, there are like a few different pieces. One in terms of going to an agency, one of the pieces is purely time. I don't have time to do this. It's almost like an outsourcing job, right? Part of it is relationships, because that can really accelerate a PR program. Versus DIY. And then the third is the ability to be a good, strong communicator. How do you position and message and all that? There are some companies that are awesome at all those things. The CEO loves reaching out. He'll make the time, or she'll make the time. They may have some relationships, or they're able to build them very effectively, and they're just natural storytellers. In those cases, DIY can work really well. And I feel like whether it's DIY or with an agency, the more people have success doing public relations, the better it is for me. Because then people are like, public relations is great. Most people will ultimately decide, I don't have the time or the talent or the inclination to do it myself, I need to hire somebody else. But there are certainly ways to do DIY. And I've talked to people, it's easier to talk about than to, like on a phone call or something, than to maybe write it out. But I've done this with several people, and it's like, it sort of clicks in their head, like, oh, I can do this on my own. And ultimately, if things continue going well, they won't want to do DIY probably forever, and then hopefully they'll come to us.
There you go. And so where can people find you, and what's your website?
Propllr.com, Propllr.com is the best way, or they can always call me at 312-504-7677, or you can email me at josh@propllr.com. Great.
Well, guys, check out Propllr.com and check out meetadvisors.com for more videos and blogs. Thank you.
Thank you.